Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniela and I have another charity shop book haul for you. Today is a big one. I have lots of books to go through. I'm going to try to squeeze them all in and let's dive in. First up we have Misery by Stephen King. Classic horror. I have seen the film for this. I still would like to read the book just because things just seem gorier when you're reading it and like they last longer than they do in films and stuff, and I'm really interested to see how this is written. Next up I found Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. This is the Red Spirit Edge version and I paid £2.99 for this. It says, magic is a con game. Kellen is moments away from facing his first Mayages duel and the start of 4 trials that will make him a spellcaster. There's just one problem, his magic is gone. As his 16th birthday approaches, Kellen falls back on his cunning until a daring stranger challenges him to take a different path. So this is a YA fantasy and I paid £2.99 for this. It's the first in a series, so hopefully I can get a good gauge of whether I want to continue with that or not before I buy any of the others. Next up, I was super excited when I saw this. Like, you've never seen me move so fast. When I saw this on the shelf, I leapt for it. And it is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've heard several people say that this is a heartbreaking book, but really, really good. Apparently it won Goodreads Best Historical Novel of the Year. It says, this story is about what it's like to be a woman during the war, when women's stories are all too often forgotten or overlooked. With courage, grace and powerful insight, best-selling author Kristen Hanna captures the epic panorama of World War II and illuminates an intimate part of history seldom seen, the Women's War. The Nightingale tells the story of 2 sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love and freedom in war-torn France. It is a heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. I just got chills reading that. So yeah, super excited to read this. I've heard good things and it cost £2.50. Next up I found The Jackal by J.R. Ward. This is, I think this is one of the latest books in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series and I paid £2 for this. I've been looking for a copy of Jane Eyre, but I haven't liked any of the covers that I've seen for it so far. So I've been looking for a copy. There's so many different covers that have been done for the classics, so I've just been looking for a copy where I liked the cover. And I found one. I found this one, and it's just red. These nice, it looks like wallpaper, floral patterns, and the key. I haven't read the book, I don't know if that has any relevance, but I just liked the cover on this one compared to all the covers I've seen previously. And this one cost me £1.25. A couple that Andy picked up. I'm not really interested in reading this, although it is by Maggie O'Farrell, so maybe after I've read I Am, I'll change my mind, but I don't know. And this is Hamnet. Oh, very nice hardback. Did not know this. It has a very lovely foiled hardback cover. That's actually like really nice. And this one cost us £2.49. I'm pretty sure this book is about some relative of Shakespeare. That's all I really know about it. He also picked up this leather-bound copy. It says The Original Illustrated Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So it's illustrated, it's leather-bound, it's beautiful, and it has these beautiful gold gilded edges. I'm not sure if this is like the full collection. It has The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, Hound of the Baskervilles, The Return of Sherlock Holmes. It looks like it has a lot in here. I don't know if it's like the complete set or not, but it's illustrated. Wow, like it has a lot of illustrations in. And it's in really good condition. We're super impressed with this, like super happy. £2.49 for this. How beautiful is that? Next up, he picked up Neuromancer by William Gibson. This says Voyager Classics. I don't know what this is, but I went to pick it up on the shelf, and obviously Andy's eye was drawn to it as I went to pick it up to look at it, and he snatched it out of my hand. Wow! Okay, it says the original cyberpunk novel and still the epitome of the genre. Neuromancer single-handedly invented cyberspace and virtual reality. As a piece of fiction, it has inspired many imitators both in print and on film, but ultimately the book transcends its cult status. So it's like the original cyberpunk novel. It's like inspired The Matrix and loads of other stuff. That sounds interesting. I'm pretty sure we paid £1 for this. Next up, I have a bunch of books that were not on my TBR, not books that I'd heard of before, and they caught my eye on the shelf. I read the back of them and they ended up in my bag. So I'm just gonna go through these. The first one is When All Is Said. It has this beautiful like watercolour effect on the front. I really like the design, and it says 5 toasts, 5 people, 1 lifetime. At the bar of a grand hotel in a small Irish town sits 84-year-old Maurice Hannigan. He's alone, as usual, though tonight is anything but. Pull up a stool and charge your glass, because Maurice is finally ready to tell his story. Over the course of this evening, he will raise 5 toasts to the 5 people who have meant the most to him. Through these stories of unspoken joy and regret, a secret tragedy kept hidden, a fierce love that never found its voice, the life of one man will be powerfully and poignantly laid bare. Heartbreaking and heartwarming all at once, the voice of Maurice Hannigan will stay with you long after all is said. I get goosebumps reading that. It just sounds really, really good. These are all on free for £1, by the way, but I am missing one. I don't have an even number of books here, but I know for a fact all these ones I'm about to show you were on free for £1. Next, I have Midwinter Break by Bernard McClaverty. This one says, a retired couple, Jerry and Stella Gilmore, fly to Amsterdam for a midwinter break, a holiday to refresh the senses, to see the sights and to generally take stock of what remains of their lives. But amongst the wintry scenes and icy canals, we see their relationship fracturing beneath the surface. And when memories re-emerge of a troubled time in their native island, things begin to fall apart. As their midwinter break comes to an end, we understand how far apart they are and can only watch as they struggle to save themselves. So this seems like a breakdown in a relationship. It says a touching, hopeful portrait of love's complexity, written by a master craftsman from the fullness of his heart. I just like the sound of it. Next we have The Gargoyle. It says a young man is fighting for his life. Into his room walks a bewitching woman who believes she can save him. Their journey will have you believing in the impossible. This one sounds like really weird. It says, one day Marianne Engel, a wild and compelling sculptress of gargoyles, enters his life and tells him that they were once lovers in medieval Germany. In her telling, he was a badly burnt mercenary and she was a nun, and a scribe who nursed him back to health in the famed monastery of Engelthal. It says, as she spins her tale, he finds himself drawn back to life and finally to love. It just sounded really weird and I liked the sound of it. Next I have Into the Trees by Robert Williams. I love it when books do this like part matte, part gloss on the cover. And this one says, in the middle of a forest is a house. Many people are drawn to the forest and the house at its centre. Firstly, the Norton family, Thomas, Anne and their 2 small children, settling into the peaceful retreat of their new home. Then there is Raymond, a shy, awkward man who seeks the solitude of the woods on lonely walks. And finally, the masked men, who creep out of the trees and invade the Nortons' home, as the lives of these 3 very different sets of people become intertwined in dramatic and unexpected ways. Another mysterious, interesting sounding book. And the last of my random picks is Lion by Saru Braley. It says 5-year-old Saru lived in a poor village in India in a 1-room hut with his mother and 3 siblings, until the day he boarded a train alone and got lost for 25 years. This is the story of what happened to Saru in those 25 years. How he ended up on the streets of Calcutta and survived. How he then ended up in Tasmania living the life of an upper middle class Aussie. And how at 30 years old, with some dogged determination, a heap of luck and the power of Google Earth, he found his way back home. Lion is a triumphant true story of survival against all odds and a shining example of the extraordinary feats we can achieve when hope endures. Sounds absolutely fascinating. Now, back to the books that were on my TBR, I found Maestra by L.S. Hilton. It says, who is the Maestra? A spectacular fraud in a London auction house, a barefoot lover running through the Paris streets, a colossal theft from a billionaire's yacht, a vicious murder under a bridge in Rome. They started it, she'll end it. I literally know nothing about this. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of thriller. It's just one of those books where the cover has drawn me in. I paid £1.50 for this. Next up, I found Law by Alexandra Bracken. It is a YA Greek myth retelling and it cost me £2. I also found a hardback copy of Cloud Cuckoo Land. Again, a book that I don't know much about, but this hardcover is in like really good condition and it cost me £1. It says, bound together by a single ancient text, the unforgettable characters of Cloud Cuckoo Land are dreamers and outsiders figuring out the world around them. 13-year-old Anna and Omir, an orphan, seems just an accursed boy. On opposite sides of the formidable city walls during the 1453 siege of Constantinople, teenage idealist Seymour and octogenarian Zeno in an attack on a public library in present-day Idaho, and Constance, decades from now, who turns to the oldest stories to guide her community in peril. It sounds like it's split over several timelines. I think this might have a fantasy element, but I'm not sure. I paid £1 for this. Next up, I told myself I was done with this series. I told myself I wasn't going to buy it, but then we saw nearly all of the books in the shop together, so I'm going to try it again. We are missing book 2, which is the book that I have not finished. I DNF'd at book 2. So we have Red Rising, which was £1, Morning Star, which was also £1, and we have the 2 newer books, Iron Gold and Dark Age, which was £1 and £2. I've heard they get better as they go and that these books are much better. I think these are set like 10 years after the events of the other books, so I'm kind of interested to read these, but I'll need to finish the first 3 books before I can go on to these. The next book I picked up is Battle Royale by Kushun Takami. I've seen a couple of people rave about this. It says it's a high-octane thriller. A class of junior high school students is taken to a deserted island where, as part of a ruthless authoritarian program, they are provided with weapons and forced to kill one another until only one survivor is left standing. Criticised as violent exploitation when first published in Japan, where it then proceeded to become a runaway bestseller, Battle Royale is Lord of the Flies for the 21st century. A potent allegory of what it means to be young and barely alive in a dog-eat-dog world. Made into a controversial hit movie at the same time, Battle Royale is already a contemporary Japanese pulp classic, now available for the first time in the UK. So I paid £2.49 for this. I'm really excited to read this. Next up, I picked up The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. This cost me £2. This one says, as the ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, January Scala feels little different from the artifacts that decorate his sprawling mansion. Carefully maintained, largely ignored, and utterly out of place. But when she finds a strange book, one that tells a tale of secret doors of love, adventure, and danger, for the first time, January realises she can escape her story and sneak into someone else's. So this is one of those books where it's like books within books. Again, I've seen mixed feelings on this book, but I'm hoping I'll enjoy it, and this one cost me £2. We also found a hardback of I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. This is another of the Discworld novels. And then finally, the last book of this haul, I found The Book of Sand by Theo Clare. I think this is the large text edition again, and it's so floppy. Like, look at this. This one only came out this year. Again, I think it's a fantasy. Fantasy, possibly sci-fi. It mentions an alien world of shifting sand. It says there's an object that is hidden. Other families want it too, and they are willing to fight to the death to make it theirs. This one cost me £2.49. So there you have it, guys. That is all of the books that I picked up. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You can see the stack. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.